Hello, hello. Happy Monday. I am here going live on this beautiful Monday here in Southwestern Ontario, is where I am located. But today I have with me Miss beautiful Julia Langley, who's a member of the Mom Link, and we're here to talk to you about an upcoming masterclass that you don't want to miss. Huge value, huge resource being brought to you by Miss Julia Langley herself in the Mom Link community, free to our members. And it's a master class on something that every single entrepreneur needs to master, needs to learn, and needs to start practicing. And that is speaking to sell.
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
this. So, Julia, welcome here. Let our viewers know, and whoever's watching right now, and anybody watching the replay, who you are, a little bit about yourself, why you love the Mom Link, and why is speaking to sell literally something every entrepreneur should learn to master.
Okay, well, starting with the first question you asked, I am Julia Langley, and I have actually been in this business for quite some time. I was a singer for Cirque du Soleil for 18 years. So I had the wonderful opportunity to be on stages all around the world, 20 different countries, and all 50 states in the US, and really get behind the scenes in what makes performers successful. And by performers, I'm talking about anyone who steps up on a stage, a speaker, a leader, a manager. It could be a corporate person. It could be somebody auditioning. It could be a singer. All right. It could be a keynote. But there's so many different ways, which kind of leads me to what you were saying, why this is important. And I'll just kind of jump there first because your voice is it's your superpower. It's one superpower that we all have, or most of us have anyway. All right. We're blessed to have. But I do call it a superpower because that's what connects us with other people. And to me, well, let me go back and say this. Helen Keller's from Alabama, which is the state that I actually grew up in, Alabama. She's our most famous Alabamian. Helen Keller was both deaf and visually impaired, right? So she had a lot of different challenges. And she said one of the most difficult things for her was not the loss of her eyesight, but was actually her hearing because it cut her off from other people. It stopped her from using her voice because she couldn't hear. So she couldn't formulate the sounds that she needed to connect. Now, Helen Keller was an amazing human being and wound up what I always say, going around and over and under the problem. She was one of the greatest communicators ever and didn't actually do it here, but did it through her brain and in other ways through her writing, through her quotes. So I'm saying that to say that we each have a superpower, and that is our voice. But what we do, how we choose to use it, that's really up to us. And a lot of times we have fear and we have nervousness that actually get in the way. Sometimes we recognize it. Sometimes we don't know that that's what it is. All right. So it's stopping us. It's stopping us from stepping forward, from improving our skills, taking chances, or even thinking that you have something important enough to say that people want to listen. I found so many times people say, I don't have anything to say. And I find that that's awful because you do. Each of us have a unique experience here in this world. That's what we're here for. We share those unique experiences, really to reach out to other people. And there's somebody out there that needs to hear what you have to say. So that's the first thing I want to say today, is that it's very important that we learn how to use our voice and that we step out and we don't let that nervousness stop us from taking those chances.
Ooh, Julia, you said you called your voice your superpower. And I'm relating this to business, right? We're the Mom Link. We're all about female entrepreneurship. And how do we succeed in business? And today's topic is, and the masterclass topic is speaking to sell. And you're literally identifying public speaking, mastering the art of speaking is really your superpower when it comes to business. How are
It
you going to promote
absolutely.
your business?
Yes.
You have to speak. How are you going to get more visibility and credibility is through your words. It's through speaking. How are you going to make that deal, close that deal or sell your product? You have to speak. So it's your superpower. And you said two things. So you called it your superpower, but would you say we're almost afraid of our superpower then?
Oh, absolutely.
And so
We're
that
we're
is
we're so
holding
often
us back.
afraid of those powers that are the strongest within us is what scares us. It's and you've probably seen the quote that it's really not our weaknesses that scare us, it's that we are infinitely powerful, and that's really what scares us. It scares us to step out there. There's a fear of judgment, there's a fear of failure, and I see this over and over in my clients. That fear of not being accepted by their peers or being talked about or failing, starting a business and stepping out there and it not going exactly like you want to. But the truth is it's never going to go exactly like you want to. But the beautiful part of it is it may go even better than you ever imagined that it would go. And that's why you have to take the chances. So that's why you have to use your voice. That's why we learn how to speak in a persuasive manner, which is what speaking to sell is. And I want to talk about the mom link just a second, because one of the things that I think is so beautiful about the mom link, and that the reason I'm a member of the mom link, is that the connection and the support between women. And Crystal, you were on my live on Friday and we kind of addressed this. And so for a deeper dive into it, go back and listen to that. But I want to say so much in history, women have been competitive and adversarial with each other. And the mom link brings us together in a connected, collaborative way, in a way that we're actually each other's cheerleaders. And in this world of entrepreneurism and in a speaker world, it's hard. It's hard. And you need those cheerleaders. You need those people that are going to support you. And in the meantime, you learn so much in the process.
It's so true. And when we talk about speaking, you associated fear with that superpower. So okay, so one, your speaking is your superpower in business, hands down. That is what's going to sell your product. That's what's going to sell your services. It's what's going to bring in the money into your business. You need to be able to speak and speak confidently about your business.
That's right.
It's your superpower. But Julie is saying with your superpower, there comes fear. And that's true. And I think that's with everything in life. I think starting a business, you're afraid. Speaking up for your business to a huge crowd of people is you become fearful. Selling and picking up the phone and closing that deal, it's fearful. You're going to experience fear with all of your superpowers. But the more you practice it and embrace it, is where that fear minimizes and you really get to hone in and embrace your superpower and bring it to life. And so I love that this is kind of where you're teaching. And I think oftentimes in entrepreneurship, and Julia, tell me if you would agree with me, we're not mastering and crafting the skill of our superpower of being able to speak. And that's why we're not selling. And I agree with this title of this masterclass. And that is why I think it's so important. I think 90% of the women that I see that are female entrepreneurs that aren't selling, it's because they're not selling.
That's right.
They're not selling because they're not selling. This message is for you. If you are listening right now and you're wondering, how can I get the next client? How can I close the next sale? Well, are you selling? And the only way to sell is to actually sell through your words, through speaking. And so I love this title of this masterclass. And you said something about community and about the mom link and why you love the mom link. And nobody is naturally great at speaking to sell. You got to work on it. You've got to practice it. And if you have a community to do it, that's a safe space like the mom link, you get to practice it in a whole room full of potential consumers who are there to see you win and let you know where you need to pivot, tweak, enhance, change. So
that's right.
So Julia, I love that you're really pushing that in order to be successful in business, we need to embrace this superpower and work on it, right?
That's right. And the thing about it is, Crystal, and I want to just add this to what you're saying, is that it's the fastest way. Not only is it the way, it is the fastest way to get it done. Because you can speak, you can step up on stage, you can reach hundreds of people at one time. And now we have this virtual world that we live in, and I can actually speak to someone on the other side of the world. I was talking to my friend from New Zealand. Yesterday, I FaceTimed somebody from the UK. So we're reaching people on a global level now. But if you're not going to face that nervousness and really do something about it, then it doesn't matter how small the world gets, you're going to be the world's best kept secret.
That's so
And
true.
nobody wants that, you know. No, but there are skills that are involved in doing it, and there is an understanding that comes with learning how to speak to sell. There are so many different ways to speak, and we'll be addressing this in this masterclass, like the differences between speaking to sell, speaking to educate. All right, so we'll be talking about those kind of things, addressing them, and give you some real world tips on how you can really go forward in some things that'll help you getting those top tier clients. Or maybe you just want to be an authority in your field. You feel like you're not taken seriously enough, and you have knowledge and years of experience. Speaking can make or break that, right? You can go into a room, and if you speak a certain way, then people are going to come out and go, what? That girl knows what she's talking about.
Mhm.
And that's the kind of reaction that you want from people. But with a lot of practice, you can do it.
And Julia, I love that you're teaching that in this master class. So, in case you're just joining in right now, Julia is teaching an incredible master class tomorrow at 11 a.m. EST in the MomLink community. That's part one, completely complimentary to our MomLink members. And then part two, Julia is opening up to her community as well. And there will be a part two to this at 7 p.m. EST tomorrow night. So, MomLink ladies, if you want that link, make sure you're jumping in part one, RSVP to that. But what you touched upon just now, Julia, I think is so important for every single entrepreneur to hear this. Speaking to sell. Some people might say, well, I do, and that's how I sell my product or service. And there's not one way to speak to sell. There's multiple ways. And part of doing the work and doing the practice, even if you think, well, I'm a great speaker. Okay, well, are you great at speaking on the phone? Are you great at selling to or speaking to sell on a webinar? Are you good in all of the different ways that you have to show up for? Do you know how you're showing up to speak to sell? So there's actually different venues, different ways that you're going to speak to sell in so many different capacities in the business world. So Julia, tell me, will you be teaching a little bit of those different aspects? What type of tips are you giving? What should our participants look forward to for tomorrow's master classes?
Well, specifically, like I said, what we'll talk about are the differences, all right, the differences in the type of speaking. But then I'm going to come back and give you some actual tips that are specific to speaking to sell, all right, because the techniques are different. They are different. There are different words you use. There are different, I say formulas that kind of indicates one way, but there are multiple ways to do it, and you have to make it your own. All right. So it's incorporating those things that need to be involved in speaking to sell, but learning how to make them your own. So it's sitting in an authentic place, because one of the things that we don't like to do is be salesy, and because who really wants that?
No.
Right?
And in 2023, if you aren't speaking to sell in an authentic way, I think it's not going to work moving forward, especially right now. And it's just not working anymore. You really do need to be authentic when you are doing, when you are speaking to sell.
It's true. And I'm going to add this, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying just a minute ago. The one thing I want to say about speakers too, and performers in general, and I've been around them my whole entire life, is that you don't know what you don't know. Okay, so let me start by saying that. So there's often things that we are doing that are hurting our performances, and we don't even know we're doing them. So we don't even know that we need help sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes it's the smallest thing too. It doesn't mean that you're a bad speaker or a bad performer, but it does, that small tweak that you can make, it can make a night or day difference in whether that person leans in or that person picks up their cell phone and starts scrolling through their Facebook account. I mean, and let's be real, Crystal. When we're talking about, let's say you have 50 people in a room, and 10 of those people could be potential clients. 10, let's say that. And we'll go into this too tomorrow. But 10 of those people could be potential clients. If you have a $10,000 offer and you give a lukewarm presentation, you're looking at $100,000 loss. Now do that 10 times and you're looking at $1 million. So we're not talking about a dollar here and a dollar there. We're talking about you leaving a lot of money on the table because you're doing something that is turning people off instead of drawing them in. And that is the kind of thing that we're going to be talking about. So I will have some real world tips All
Will there
right.
be a hot seat experience? I'm like, I love anything hot seat.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, I definitely want people to be comfortable getting up there, but we'll definitely give the opportunity for, we'll have time for 1 or 2 hot seat experiences. So come ready to do that, you
yes.
guys. Yeah.
Yes, don't miss this masterclass. Again, the masterclass is happening complimentary tomorrow, Tuesday, 11 a.m. EST. Make sure comment on this live, comment, send me a message wherever you're joining from. We're streaming on so many different platforms right now, or get in touch with Julia. She'll get you the link. She'll get you into this complimentary masterclass. You're not going to want to miss it. If you want to sell your products or services, you need to definitely hone in on your superpower, minimize the fear, and really embrace speaking to sell with Julia Langley tomorrow at our masterclass. There was one thing that I wanted to leave you with. Oh, Julia, when you
Yes.
talked about the little things that matter, it is
Yes.
so true. Sometimes the smallest thing that you can't see is the one thing that distracts the audience.
Oh,
And I'm going
so
to give you an example. My niece is in theater, and when I go and watch her, they're teaching young kids where to look out because there's bright lights. And I'm sure being on stage for so many years yourself, you're going to know what I'm talking about. But I was sitting in the crowd as the participant watching, and the person on stage who's looking above the lights really bothers me. It
right.
looks like they're looking into into space, right? And it really distracts me. And it's so small. Why would that
So
bother me? What does it change? Why does it change the performance? Because I don't feel they're speaking to me
that's
or
right.
singing to me or dancing and smiling at me. And when you're in the audience, when you are being sold to, you want to feel like it is personalized, like that
Oh,
it is
gosh.
just for you, right? So, Julia, do you know what I'm talking about? When people, I feel like entertainers don't know where to look when they're learning or whatnot. And so
That's
that's a
right.
small little tip there, a little
Well,
example.
this is definitely a rookie mistake. You start to learn as you get older, things like that. So, but it's amazing how many people do it, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that we're talking about here is that you say, yeah, well, I've been speaking for years, and I've seen it. I've seen it. I've been doing this a long time, and then you get up there and you watch, and you're like, ooh. And I can identify usually what it is, right? But the audience, let me say what happens with an audience, and this is just a real world thing, right? The audience often doesn't know what it is that makes them uncomfortable.
Mm,
They just know they're uncomfortable. So you don't get another chance, right? That's the thing. They didn't lean in. I mean,
mm.
I have to be honest. I went to a speaking engagement the other day and I was like, and I caught myself on my phone trying not to be, but I
Right.
was like, I can't.
Well,
So, but that's key because the audience often doesn't know and can't tell you what it is that made you turn them off. They don't know. They just know that they didn't feel good. Right. So there's things like that we really have to, and you recognized what it was. You recognized it was
yes.
the eyes. But selling and performing on it's okay. Selling is performing, and again we're going to dive into this. Selling's performing, but it isn't the same kind of performance as standing up on a stage in front of 1,000 people. It's a
Mm,
slice of that performance. All right. So you can be a great seller and a terrible keynote speaker, and you can be a great keynote speaker and a horrific salesman. Horrible. So
yes.
to be successful, you really need to understand both. And you may not be like, the ShamWow guy that can sell anything, right? You may not ever be that, but you can improve your skills and get better and get comfortable with it. It
Yeah.
can happen. And
And
the same goes to for keynote as well.
And if you're an entrepreneur, it's something that you have no choice but to get good at. You have to get good at it, that your business depends on it.
It
Your
does.
business depends on your ability to speak, to sell, your ability to know the difference between, a stellar keynote versus going live and being a great interviewer versus selling and closing that next deal. It's so crucial to the survival of your business and its sustainability. And I'd have to say the last thing and the perfect way to end this live is you need you need people who genuinely are going to give you the feedback you so deserve so you can pivot and make sure that the audience that you turned off and they don't know why
That's
that
right.
you're getting that feedback. And the best way to do it is take a master class brought to you by the Mom Link and Miss Julia Langley, and immerse yourself in a community of like-minded female entrepreneurs like the Mom Link, where you'll have a place and a safe space to practice your speaking, to practice your pitching, to practice your keynote, to practice whatever it is that you are speaking to sell. So
That's right.
again, if you didn't hear, don't miss out this opportunity that Julia is bringing her expertise, her many professional years of speaking to sell herself. And she's bringing this as an incredible resource and tool for you as a member of the Mom Link, or to any of our community members at large. If you would like this complimentary masterclass, definitely get in touch with us.
Absolutely. And we do have a couple of comments over here, Crystal. I don't know. I see
So
Robert.
I'm
Oh,
so
Robert
glad.
Stern. Yeah. Now, Robert Stern is a social media guru right here. And so let's see what he's saying here. When doing a live, stop looking at the people on the screen and look at the lens on the phone.
Oh, I wonder, Robert, I always struggle with that. Sometimes I look at the lens, and then most of the time I catch myself looking at you, Julia.
Yeah, right. I do
No,
it too.
Robert's so right.
He is the social media leader though. So this is fabulous. Yeah, that he kind of weighed in, because you know what? And I'll say this to end this too. It doesn't matter how many years you've been doing it. It doesn't matter how good that you are. It doesn't matter, because you can always learn something new. You can always expand your skills. You can always move forward. All right. So that's the thing. As a performer, we're always growing. We're always expanding and just getting better at our craft. That's the journey of life.
So true. And now Robert's got me. I'm looking here. I'm looking at Julia. I'm looking here. I'm looking. Now I'm always going to be mindful, but that's amazing. Robert, that's exactly what we do at the Mom Link. We tell each other little tips and tricks and ways that we can pivot and just make our experience a little bit more enjoyable for the people we're looking to reach. So
that's exactly.
Julia, I'm excited for tomorrow. I cannot wait for you to bring this value to the Mom Link. And again, don't miss out. Make sure you register for this complimentary masterclass. And as always, Julia, love talking with you. Love talking about, the honest truths of entrepreneurship, literally, that no one tells you about. And, we all talk about that elevator pitch, but we don't talk about the different diverse ways of speaking to sell. So I can't wait for your masterclass tomorrow.
Well, I'm excited. Thank you. Thank you. And looking forward to seeing you all in there. Thank you so much.